Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. It is the deep dive and it is the burning question in every Liverpool fan's mind at the moment that we are going to try and tackle, and that is just, is it time for Trent Alexander-Arnold to play centre midfield for Liverpool Football Club? To answer this question with me is none other than my deep dive partner in crime, Mr. Josh Williams. Josh, it's on everyone's lips at the moment. Everyone's been thinking about it, and there's been so many people that I've been speaking to over the last 6 to 12 months who will not even entertain the question, myself included. For so long, I would never think about playing Trent Alexander-Arnold in the centre of the park. But over the course of the last few months, since April, since we moved to this box midfield that we've spoken so much about, the more and more you see Trent in midfield, the more and more you start thinking, but what would he just look like playing there all the time, don't you?
Yeah. He's an absolutely top player. And I think at the minute we are seeing the most complete version of him. I think he looks like a proper all-rounder, and I think he looks even just a bit more mobile to me. You know, like a bit more trimmed, just a bit more physical, and what he can properly get away from players when he's running past them. And it feels like a couple of years back that was never the case. Maybe that's just me, but he's becoming such like an authority within the team, vice captain and that now. We were watching the game, weren't we, at the ground against Fulham, and the free kick incident where Simicast has got hold of the ball. You pointed that out to me, where Trent just goes, "Give me that," you know what I mean? And that just kind of captures the elements of authority that he has got over his teammates now, and it's getting to a point where he is becoming a little bit of a Gerrard on the pitch for Liverpool.
There was a time during that game where both me and you were like that, weren't we? He's driving through the middle of the park here, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is someone special, and we know that he's played that 6 role in the unders and all, you know, centre midfielder in the unders for a long time, so it's not a new role to him, but he has taken to it like a duck to water. And you know, we've constantly talked about the benefits of Trent at right back and how he gets down the side and he whips those balls in, but we are seeing less crosses per 90 this season than in previous years, and part of that is down to the fact that we are moving Trent inside, and part of that is the fact that Liverpool played this way a long time, and teams kind of, after so much data and so much video, kind of knew what we were going to do, and it's kind of changed things up quite significantly, haven't we? But before we get into it too much, I do want to just focus on Fulham a little bit, and I've got his touch map up in front of me, so you can see here his shots. I think this one will be the free kick. Yeah, it's the woodwork. Goal.
Apparently.
Yeah, well, it definitely hit the woodwork. It was a goal that came off the back of it, and you can see there's so many sort of touches in the centre here that this is one of those games where he's had a lot, and you know, 103 touches according to this website on the day and stuff like that. But him in the middle of the park, he can play every pass, he can see every pass, and he's a conductor in there for us, isn't he?
Yeah, I've got a question for you actually.
Go on.
Looking at that pass map, or touch map, sorry, if you didn't have any clue who that was, where he was playing or anything, what would you say that player is playing in terms of a role on the pitch? I put you on the spot there, but
maybe
I would think
maybe a centre mid.
I would think maybe part of a 2 on the right of a 2, possibly in the middle of the park.
A 4-4-2 right hand side centre mid.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'd go as well.
So, and it's interesting that like the topic of the show is, should Trent become a midfielder? But if you look at his touch map, he kind of already is in a way. It's a really interesting, deep, funnily enough, topic to delve into, really, because there's so many elements to it, so many layers to it. But as you say, one of the things with Trent, you just mentioned there, he was a conductor. He's a weird kind of conductor though, because if you think of the conductor for, you know, top European football sides over the years, you think of like a
Busquets or something, maybe.
Cruz, yeah, a Busquets, Thiago, Verratti, potentially, you know, all them kind of players. They don't create chances.
Yeah.
What makes Trent so weird and so unique is he talks about all his control, the conducting stuff, likes to control the game, dictate the tempo. He said this himself recently. But then he'll just create a chance out of nowhere. He'll just pick up the ball there, and rather than playing at 5 yards, he will just find Nunes here.
Yeah.
Or
Diaz over there, that pass,
Yeah.
remember, from the weekend, and we were just stood behind it going, well, you saying around, what, you couldn't get a better view of that pass.
Yeah.
It was just glorious, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like usually you are either a Rodri who's safe 5 yard passes, you don't create chances, you dictate the tempo, or you're a De Bruyne who is a master passer obviously, but loses the ball a lot because he's creating all kinds. Trent, it feels, is almost trying to be both and almost succeeding really. But in terms of giving that player a role, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's unprecedented almost.
I mean, a question for you then, obviously thinking back to the Fulham game and all that type of stuff, he moves into the 6 in that game. Joe Gomez comes on, he moves into the 6. Did he play well in the middle?
I think he played okay, but the problem I very quickly realised, and I think I remember mentioning this to you, is Fulham, I think at this time, either had a lead or they were drawing. So it was the onus was obviously on Liverpool to break them down and things. And one of the issues that we had was when we were breaking them down, with Trent now in the middle, and I was still playing in a bit of a similar way with Salah naturally doing what Salah does, Gomez was in acres of space there. And I think we did it to cause issues for their kind of defensive structure because Tom Kearney was man-marking Trent. So if you put Trent over there, but Gomez where Trent was, and now Tom Kearney's a little bit in between both, doesn't know who to pick up, Gomez is the free man all the time. It caused a problem for them, but it's Gomez on the ball, and he's a bit toothless basically in comparison to some of the threats Liverpool have got. So I think when we made the switch, it presented the questions to Marco Silva, but I don't think Liverpool necessarily played better, which is weird.
I think that was the worst section of the game for Trent to not, like, in any way, shape or form sit on the fence about it. I think we lost control of the game when Trent played in that 6 because I think we lost what McAllister was given to the side at the time. It wasn't until we moved him to the 8 and brought Endo on that we actually, I think, got control of the game again and really sort of kicked on. And obviously Trent comes up with the winner and makes it all about him and stuff. So yeah, I thought he was brilliant. One thing I do want to just move over to is something that I've got here on FB Ref. And I just wanted to look at touches per 90. In fact, first of all, we'll do it by date, right? And you can see here that, you know, there's a few times where he's got close to 100 touches, one of them being the game at the weekend against Fulham, 99. A draw against Luton, 114 touches. A win against Everton, 118 touches. And I just want to draw some comparisons to shot creating actions. So if we rank it by touches, you'll notice that his shot creating actions, it makes more sense. Generally speaking, he has more shot creating actions when he has more touches of the ball. That, in a really simplistic terms, is probably a good thing for Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So getting him on the ball more equals more shots from our side created by him. It makes perfect sense. Is a way of putting him in the middle of the park as a genuine 8 or a genuine 6, a way of giving him more touches.
Well, if you think of the way in which Liverpool have done it this season, we've touched on it a few times in terms of like he's occupied a lot of different roles this season. Obviously, we saw him as a true 6 against Fulham at times. We've seen him as a right back, as in more of a traditional sense. Sometimes we've seen him as an inverted full back. Against Villa, he was basically a centre half when we had the ball. So these are all attempts, by the looks of it, from Klopp's side to basically get him on the ball as much as possible, and that's an effective plan considering how dangerous he is and how much of a problem he is for the opposition. So I think it's just kind of like, no matter what the game is, find a way almost to give Trent the keys and hope that he's on the ball as much as you'd expect. And when he's kind of marked out the game, Klopp makes strategic adjustments, as we saw against Fulham, to make that change a little bit. But in terms of the I suppose the conversation of him becoming a full-time midfielder, which is supposed at the top of the show, there's kind of additional bits of context you've got to add to that conversation that I don't think the likes of, I don't know, just one of the match of the day pundits who are casually having a glance at Trent, seeing how bossy he is on the ball and saying,
playing in the middle.
It's a midfielder, that. Yeah, rather than fullback can't usually pass.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay,
I mean?
well, let's tackle some of those questions then. First of all, if Liverpool want to put him in midfield, which position are you putting him in?
I think he could play as a right-sided 8 to a decent level. But I think it would be where McAllister's playing.
A 6.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I think. But
If you play Trent in the middle, in the 6, are you doing a box or are you playing 4-3-3 again?
well, if you do the box, the player inverting is Joe Gomez, who's not necessarily a natural doing it. So that's I think that's one of the main issues, to be honest, with this. People talk like you should move Trent into the middle of the park because he's really good on the ball and things like that. But by doing that, that then means that one of Szoboszlai, Elliott, Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch, another one of them than normal is benched in favour of Gomez. Gomez is the player you're adding to your 11. And you could argue that with Trent in the middle, which is what you want in a way, the 11 as a unit becomes less threatening because the right back is toothless. Mm-hmm. So I think someone like a City can do it a little bit differently. They can have 4 centre backs at the back because they've got...
And then we'll step in, as John Stones, for example, steps in.
Yeah, but they've got natural wingers though. They've got like really wide players like Doku, and you know, they naturally are really good 1v1. Same with Saka and Martinelli to an extent. In terms of them really wide, Liverpool have got forwards. Liverpool have got inside forwards who do that. So we kind of need a bit more width from like our left-sided centre half, like the Robertson or the Tsimikas, whoever plays it. Needs to go wide a little bit more. So it's tricky.
Okay, well, let's look at it. If Trent's in your 6 there, Szoboszlai, McAllister,
yeah,
potentially, maybe in terms of what they've done so far, I think that would be the 3 names on the team sheet, wouldn't it? I suppose.
But one of the issues with that though is that then just gives you 3 in the middle. Yeah. If that's Núñez up front, that gives you 3 in the middle. Yeah. And throughout Klopp's time at Liverpool, we've had 4. Yeah. We've always had 4 because Firmino's done that. That gives you 4 there. And then when Firmino stopped doing that and Núñez started doing that, Klopp was like, sound.
Let's do that.
There's your 4. We always have a 4. So we need to find a way of making that happen again, which is through the inverted thing. So I think...
Or Gakpo.
Yeah. Or Gakpo. But I like Núñez. I think Núñez is the future for the team. So I think Núñez stays there. I think one of the more likely solutions, if you were going to do it, I don't think we'll do it for the record, because I think the time to make that squad shift was probably the summer just gone. Klopp buys 4 midfielders. He could have bought 3.
And a right
put
back.
Trent in midfield and bought a right back who's really good. Like Bayern did that with Pavard or with Lucas Hernandez. Liverpool didn't. Liverpool have got Trent and Joe Gomez, who's really, really different.
Well, let's talk those squad options, because I think that's right. You could address it in January, you could address it in the summer. I think it makes more sense to probably address it in the summer if you are buying a right back that is going to invert, because you're keeping Núñez up top. That's a big ask. There's no ready-made right back on the market who does that.
Well, frustratingly though, I think an option could have been, like, rather than getting Endo, you put Trent there and you buy a Timber.
Yeah.
He went to Arsenal.
Julian Timber.
Yeah, he went to Arsenal. He showed very early on he can do it. Good on the ball, good tactical awareness. Timber could have played right back for Liverpool. Done that. Trent plays there, McAllister plays there, Szoboszlai plays there. We have a back 3. And we keep the system as normal and no one's really like a fish out of water.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one option. I think obviously I'm going to swap them for no reason. That then becomes Trent, because he can probably play the 8. You're losing Dom Szoboszlai, and you're losing the option of having 2 other very, very good attacking players, which brings your point about the toothless sort of right back. And I like Joe Gomez, by the way. I don't think he is toothless. I don't think he's anywhere near as toothful as the other players. But I actually think he's quite good on the right-hand side. I quite like him, and I think his crossing's decent as well. So there's one thing there. Now, I suppose the next question would be... like, I don't really see him playing the 8 because I think we've just got too many options in the 8. Gravenberch, Elliott, Gakpo,
I agree, yeah.
Soboslai, McAllister. It just seems a bit nuts.
I agree. One of the issues with the 8 as well is if he's playing the 8 and Liverpool have got the ball, obviously everyone a bit more higher and things, but in the final third, Trent then would be expected to play inside the block, inside the opposition shape. And I actually think one of his, if you want to call it a weakness, like relatively speaking, is his kind of reception of the ball under pressure.
Yep.
He would be doing that a lot as an 8. And I don't think he's overly comfortable doing that. I think you always really want Trent. I think he'd be good in the 8 in terms of shooting, obviously he's got a shot on him. But you always want Trent, I think, almost outside the block looking into it.
Yeah.
Picking out...
Seeing the matrix.
Seeing the openings, seeing the spots and finding them, because he's got such a long passing range as well, such an elaborate passing range that if he's always playing there, you'll just see, like there was a pass on the weekend against Fulham. We were sat roughly here, weren't we? He picks up the ball there and played it to Simicast or Diaz, one of them two. We were right behind it, and you know, you don't get the opportunity to play them passes if you're always really high. So I think Trent is the kind of player that you want in deeper areas.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I suppose the next sort of question that this leads me on to, in fact, it's not a question, the next information is, why would you do it? So this is the league table from the 15th of April 2023. I think it's just after we'd introduced it against Arsenal in the 2-2 draw. And then we introduced the box midfield, and you can see here, yes, we've played the game more than Manchester City, but we've scored 5 more points than them. So 2 more if they win the game in hand, right?
Yeah.
10 more than Arsenal in that time. And I would also like to just suggest here that those two were in a title race at that point, where they were probably... Man City were hitting some of their best form. You know, they've had their weaknesses this season, I suppose, but Liverpool have lost 1 game since we've moved to this box midfield.
And we had 9 men.
And we've had 9 men in that game, yeah. We've won games where we've had 10 men.
And so Joel Matip scored the winner.
And so, yeah, so the question is, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
And that is ultimately, I think, where I come back to on all of this. I can totally see a future for Trent in the middle of the park. And a year ago, if you'd asked me that question, I couldn't. I think I might have even turned around to Judo on the game going, be interesting to see if another manager comes in and plays him in the middle. Because I just don't think the Klopp will at the moment.
Klopp always seems against it. You know, when he gets asked about it, he always seems to be really like, we're not going to do this.
Stop asking me about it. Why are you making headlines?
And like when Southgate has done it, he just has a go at him, like, basically.
Southgate's got Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
Southgate's got he's got Reece James. He's got other right backs there. Klopp's got Joe Gomez.
I'm certain Klopp would do it if he had Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I agree with you. But he hasn't.
No. I do think there's a reason to do it, though. I think the overwhelming reason to do it is, if you think of Liverpool's biggest weakness, if you ask 100 Scousers now, or Liverpool fans or whatever, you know, what's Liverpool's biggest weakness? Where Liverpool going to get attacked today? It'd be there. If you move Trent to become a permanent midfielder, even if we keep doing the box thing and he's playing there, and then when we invert he goes like that and plays there, he would never be in them spots that we're almost sick of seeing him in the past couple of years. He would never have to face up an opponent 1v1. He wouldn't get caught out in transition, you know, things like that. That would be completely eradicated if Trent was permanently moved into the middle of the park, because he'd only ever be defending kind of here. Obviously, if he was kind of, he'd get dragged over here sometimes, obviously, but that's just kind of helping out. But that would get completely removed. But then, obviously, the other side, what I said earlier, the flip side of that is, by doing it, you have to play a right back, and the right back we've got Gomez. So then in your first 11, you have Joe Gomez, and I don't think Joe Gomez makes Liverpool's strongest 11 players.
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense from an 11 perspective to play Trent there, McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, and you're more dangerous as a unit. and you've got like the last pass from everywhere. See what I mean?
I completely agree with you, mate. Honestly, I do. I can see a future for Trent in the middle of the park. I can't see it at the moment because Liverpool's squad makeup isn't right for it. I think your point was probably the most pertinent point of the show is he bought 4 midfielders.
Yeah. he could have done it then. That was the big time. I think rather than buying one of the 4, you viewed Trent as a midfield option and buy a right back. But off the top of my head, I can't really remember how good the right back market was over the summer. Really, I don't know if there was any legitimate options there, and if the best right back option that was available was just someone who was just all right, like say for example a 28-year-old Pavard who wanted to play as a centre half by all accounts, and you've got a choice to sign Pavard or Gravenberch. It probably does make sense to go for Gravenberch, but we did get Endo in.
We got Endo in.
Could Liverpool have not signed a right back who was a better right back than Endo as a midfielder? That's a question.
I don't know, mate. You're asking about the second best defensive midfielder in the world there in Endo at the moment. He's right up there in my books.
The best finisher in the world as well,
Oh God, it was some finish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go. I think we've both kind of come to the same conclusion that right now it's not the time.
No.
I will ask one more question. Do you think we're likely to see Trent more in the middle this season, like we did against Fulham, maybe in terms of break glass?
Yeah, possibly. I think it's a situational thing that we can do, and you got to bear in mind as well, like at least 50% of the time, because of how much of the ball Liverpool see, we see Trent as a midfielder. We pretty much see it. The only difference would be if it was a permanent shift, we'd stop seeing all that, which we all hate. Yeah. So I can see why people want it.
Okay, so there you go. It might be time, I think, but it's not there yet for us. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, of course. I'll dive into there now quickly to see what people are saying. Why should he play centre midfield? Because we are getting only 50% productivity from our most talented player due to the touchline to his right. Luke says, as much as we want him in midfield full time, we're better off as a team keeping him to what he's doing now. As a lone 6, I just don't think it would work. It would be terrible, said Dom Dewsbury. Dom Lear says, doesn't matter where you play him, he's a number 10. So there you go. A few of the comments there. Thank you for joining us live. Josh, thanks as ever for joining us. If you want more deep dives, we have looked at a comparison between Gravenberch and Kurt Jones today. That's available for you on redmenplus.com. We do 2 deep dives every single week, one for free on YouTube, one behind our subscription service, redmenplus.com. Josh is on both of them. I'm on both of them most of the time. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. That's
Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Red Men content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.